Hey there, it's Zaddy. I hope you are having a wonderful day, morning, evening, nighttime, whatever it is where you are. It's kind of like almost sunset here right now. Life's just been kind of busy lately, and I hope that you are getting lots of rest as we move into this darker half of the year. I hope you had a wonderful Halloween and things. I hope that you are adjusting to the time change if you have to deal with that. So daylight savings is definitely kicking my butt more than usual this year. So yeah, figured if you are having a hard time getting rest and relaxing or sleeping, I could read some stories to you from, that's upside down, Billy and Blaze collection. These are my partner's books. They're really cute. I've read like the first couple ones in another video. I think I just did 2 of them, so I might do 1 or 2 right now. And I have the window open right now, so I'm sorry if you hear cars going by. I just need some airflow in here. It's been a cleaning and rest day. So this one is Blaze and the Lost Quarry. I love the artwork in these, it's so cute. And having just like the tiny little paperback books just reminds me of being a kid. Let me see. So the last one I read was Blaze and the Forest Fire. That good book, or like that newer book smell or something. I don't know. Definitely gives me a nostalgia, like the smell. Okay. Billy was a boy who had a pony with 4 white feet and a wide white stripe on his face. This is called Blaze, so Billy named his pony Blaze. Billy loved Blaze very much and took the best care of him. There's Billy and Blaze. They went for long rides through the woods. Some of the roads were forgotten and nobody ever used them. Billy loved to explore and Blaze seemed to like it too. They saw many birds and rabbits and squirrels. One day, Billy and Blaze stopped by a little house. An old man sat out in the sun. He was very friendly and asked Billy where he rode. "Have you ever seen the old quarry?" he asked. "They call it the Lost Quarry now because nobody seems to know where it is." The house and the old man. The old man went on. "I knew it well as a boy, but I am too old and crippled to go there and show you the way. Look for a small road to the left with deep ruts made by ox carts. Then you come to Wolf Rock. You will know you are on the right road." Billy found the road. It was just as the old man had told him, with deep tracks that the ox carts had made long ago. Billy was very excited. Soon he would see the quarry he had heard so much about. Here's the road. The road was overgrown, and Billy had to bend low to get under the trees and vines. He could see that it was many, many years since this road had been used. There he is, dodging the trees and branches. Then they came to a place so overgrown with hanging vines that Blaze could not get through. Blaze stood quietly while Billy took out his pocket knife and cut away the vines. Then they went on. There's all the tangly vines. After riding a long way, they came to a large rock beside the road. On it were cut the words Wolf Rock. Billy had often heard the story of how a man had once climbed up this rock when attacked by wolves. He had held them off with a club until daylight, when they went away as wolves do. So there it says Wolf Rock. Farther on, Billy saw a strange piece of stone beside the road. There were deep marks cut into it. Now he knew he was on the right road, for this stone must have come from the quarry. They went for quite a way, and then Billy saw something that made him pull up short. A large dead tree had fallen across the road. It was a big tree, but he knew Blaze was a good jumper. Billy would not turn back now, for he knew they were near the lost quarry. If you watched the other video, you know that Blaze can jump pretty high. He turned Blaze around to get a start and then called, "Come on, Blaze." It seemed like flying as they sailed over the tree in a big leap. Blaze galloped along, shaking his head. He liked jumping and excitement. So there he goes. Then around a turn in the road, they came to a tumble-down house. Some of the men who worked in the quarry must have lived here long, long ago. I love abandoned stuff, so. Farther on, Billy saw a smooth stone beside the road. It looked strange, so he got off his pony for a careful look. 1884, he read. He knew this came from the quarry. He must be very close now. And suddenly there it was. It was bigger than Billy had thought, with high walls and deep, clear water. What a wonderful place. He heard a dog barking, and then he saw a red fox running along the very top of the high wall. After him came a brown and white dog, running as hard as he could. They're very tiny up here. Suddenly the dog slipped. He scrambled hard to keep from falling, but he could not hold on, and down he came. Oh, he's over here. You can see how the rocks are like crumbling. The dog hit the water with a splash, but he came up quickly and started swimming. Billy called to him, for he knew the dog could never get up those steep walls. The dog began swimming towards Billy. So there he is, all the way in the corner. And Blaze is being a good boy, just waiting. Billy lay down and reached as far as he could. He soon got hold of the dog's paws and pulled him out of the water. Oh, what a good kid. Billy wiped him as dry as he could with his handkerchief. He saw that the dog had no collar. "You must be lost," said Billy. "If no one claims you, then you can be my dog. Would you like that?" The dog licked Billy's hands and wagged his tail happily. He's so little. Billy just adopts dogs left and right, I guess. As they started for home, the dog went along proudly. He liked to belong to somebody. It had been an exciting day. Billy had found the lost quarry and also a wonderful place to swim. And he also had a dog. Blaze went along gaily, as if he were happy too. Aww. Let's see another one. Okay, I might do next on is Blaze Finds the Trail. Billy was a little boy who had a fine pony named Blaze. Billy loved his pony very much and spent most of his time with Blaze. They went for long rides every day. Billy would often go down to the pasture to pet Blaze. "You are the finest pony in all the world," he would say. He felt sure it was so. They rode for some distance over roads they both knew very well. They walked down the hills so Blaze would not stumble and hurt himself, and then trotted or galloped when they got to the bottom. Soon they were many miles from home. Aww. Billy looks a little older too. One day Billy's mother made some sandwiches for him because he and Blaze were going for a very long ride. They were going to explore an old road through the woods that no one ever used anymore. This was exciting. Blaze seemed to enjoy the ride as much as Billy. They came to the place where the old road turned off straight into the deep woods. Although it was overgrown with grass and weeds, Billy could still see the deep roots wagons had made in the ground many years ago. He wanted to see where they would take them. Lots of woodsy exploring in these two, I guess. A beautiful bird with bright-colored feathers flew up just in front of them, and the whir of its wings gave both Billy and Blaze a start. It was a pheasant. Billy had never seen one so close before. He thought it was the most beautiful bird he had ever seen. A little further on, they saw something red steal quickly across the road. "It's a fox," cried Billy. "Oh, aren't you glad we came this way, Blaze?" Blaze seemed to nod his head as he trotted on. They came to a place where a dead tree was leaning across the road. There was barely room for Blaze to go under it. What that means. Billy had to lie flat on Blaze's back, and they just squeezed through. Oh, I thought they were going to jump over it. Aw, that's cute. Okay, now, here comes a jump. Then they came to a fallen tree across the road. But Blaze was a fine jumper and sailed over it easily. "It was a hurricane that blew the tree down," said Billy. "I wouldn't want to be under it when it fell. Would you, Blaze?" I feel like that's a weird question to ask, but that's just me. Intrusive thoughts win. They had gone a long way when Billy saw another big tree across the path. The branches held it up so that it was too high to jump and too low to go under. Billy hated to turn back when they had come so far. "Let's try to go around it, Blaze," said Billy. "There must be some way to do it." He looked shocked. The woods were very thick, and each time they tried to get back to the path where the fallen trees there were fallen trees with thick woods in the way. They were getting farther and farther from the old road, and they still could not find any opening. At last they were able to turn back toward the road. Now Billy felt that everything was going to be all right, but they had not gone far before they came to a very deep gully. Billy's heart sank, for he knew they could never get down such a place. They would have to go back again and try a different way. Billy had to lead his pony, for the woods were too thick for him to ride. Yeah, that looks pretty dangerous. There was nothing in sight but woods, and Billy began to be worried. Which way was the road? When he looked for the sun to find what direction he should go, he saw that the sky had become very dark and stormy. It looked very strange, and he was a little frightened. They must get home before the storm. Oh, I guess that's what the question was, foreshadow. Billy told Blaze to stand quietly, and he climbed up in a tall tree. He hoped he might see something that would tell him where they were, but all he could see were treetops everywhere. "We'll get out somehow," he said to Blaze. He did not want Blaze to know how worried he was. But if he's his heart horse, I'm sure he knows. It's all the way up there. On they went in the direction Billy felt must be right. The ground was soft and muddy, and suddenly they sank deep in a hole. Billy scrambled out and pulled as hard as he could on the reins. At last, Blaze climbed out, covered with mud and looking very frightened. It had been a close call, for the mud hole was very deep. Oh, poor guy. It was growing very dark, and they still could find no sign of a road. Billy was tired and frightened. He knew they were lost. He sat down to rest. Blaze rubbed his soft nose against Billy as if to say, "Don't worry, I'll take care of you." But now a strong wind was blowing, and the sky was very dark and strange looking. Oh. When Billy got up, Blaze started off pulling Billy with him. He seemed to know just where he wanted to go, so Billy followed him. "Do you really know the way, Blaze?" he cried. "If you only get us out of these woods, I'll give you carrots and sugar every day, lots and lots of them." Blaze went right on, dodging around rocks and trees, but always going in the same direction. Aww, what a smart guy. Suddenly, through the bushes, Billy saw something that made him very happy. It was an old stone wall, but now he knew they were on the right track. His father had often told how the early settlers had built these walls with stones they cleared from the land. And where there were walls, there had once been fields and roads leading to them. There's the stone wall on the back. Then just ahead he saw an opening in the wall and a path leading ahead. "You are wonderful, Blaze," he cried. "You found the way." Now at last he could get in the saddle again, and they could go faster. The wind was growing stronger, and he knew the woods were no place to be in a storm. They went at a gallop, for the wind was roaring through the treetops, and the sky was very black. Suddenly they heard a loud crack, and Blaze leapt forward just as a big dead tree crashed down in the path behind them. "This must be another hurricane," Billy shouted to Blaze. "We'll have to race, or we'll never get home." Well, I guess that answered his question about being underneath it when it falls. Blaze was galloping as hard as he could, and Billy was dodging the low branches when he saw, just ahead of them, a wide road. Nothing had ever looked so wonderful to him. Now he knew that home was just a mile down the road. "You did it," Billy shouted in Blaze's ear as the wind howled around them. "You're a wonderful pony." Oh, of course he is. They could see the lights of home, and Blaze was really flying. He wanted to be in his nice snug stable, away from this wild storm. The air was full of leaves and flying branches torn from the trees. "Just a little farther and we'll be there," cried Billy. He knew that Blaze was very tired, but he still kept on as fast as he could go. Oh, look at him go. He's like, "I gotta go. Gotta go fast." Billy's father was out on the road when they galloped up to the house. He was very happy to see them safe, and he called to Billy's mother to tell her the good news. He told Billy that this was really a hurricane, and they had been worried about him. He went down to the stable to help Billy dry off Blaze. "As soon as you're rested and cooled off, I'll give you a wonderful dinner," Billy said to Blaze as he rubbed his pony's wet, shiny coat. "He found the way out of the woods," he told his father. "He's a fine pony," said Billy's father. "He's the best pony in all the world," cried Billy. "I think so too." The end. I've read 4 out of the 9 books. So I hope you enjoyed some story time. I hope you are getting rest and feeling good. And feeling warmth come your way. Alright. That's all for now. Until next time.